Hello, I'm Lucy Sanders. I'm a former graduate of Wheaton Graduate School's Biblical Exegesis program, and I currently teach at Life Pacific University.
Lucy Sanders, good to see you. Welcome to Exegetically Speaking.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Well, you're a graduate of Wheaton College and you are a great representative of Wheaton College. So let me say thank you at the very outset.
Thank you. It was a real pleasure to be able to go there.
What is your title at your current place? What do they call you?
Yes, well, most people call me Lucy here, but my official title is assistant professor. I teach in the Biblical Studies program here at Life Pacific.
Fantastic. And Hebrew is kind of the language we'll be talking about today. But how did you get started reading biblical languages?
Yes. So I actually went to Life Pacific back then. It was college, and I did their biblical studies program. And while I was in the program, I had to learn Hebrew and kind of partially Greek. And that's really what, honestly, learning the languages is actually what got me into biblical studies, really as a discipline. And so I'm very linguistically minded at heart, so it got me excited. And so that led me to Wheaton Graduate School for the exegesis program. And so I continued my studies there, finally learned real Greek, and
Real
yeah,
Greek, real
ever
Greek,
since.
as opposed to false Greek, I guess, in other ways.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk today about the book of Ecclesiastes, which I mean, you're doing some research right now for a pretty important project, I guess, right?
Yes, so I'm doing my dissertation at University of Birmingham in the UK. I'm doing it on basically how does Kohelet, the narrator of Ecclesiastes, how does he use experience to kind of form his theology?
Hmm. An important part of the background of that life experience piece. Now, when you say Kohelet, not everybody kind of resonates with that. What does Kohelet mean?
Right, so that's the formal title that the person speaking throughout most of Ecclesiastes kind of takes or is given. So when we say Kohelet, we're really referring to everything but the very beginning part and the very end of Ecclesiastes.
I've heard it translated the teacher. I've heard it translated in a variety of ways. It's really a hard word to translate.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, today we're looking at Ecclesiastes chapter 2 verse 24 toward the end of that chapter. And it's garnered your attention here of late.
Yes, I was originally looking at it because my research involves looking at experience, and part of the way I define experience is using the senses. And so this verse has a lot of sensory language like eating and drinking and seeing things. But then I stumbled on this other thing that was like, oh, this is really important and can really illustrate how important learning the languages
Hmm.
are.
So what is that other thing that you stumbled on?
So I stumbled on this preposition. So it's really one very tiny word connected to another word in Hebrew.
Hmm.
And that preposition is often translated as something different in most current translations that we have, like the ESV, the NASB, and the NIV.
Hmm.
And I was like, they're taking a different approach to what I see here and how I could translate it.
Hmm. So let's just take the NIV because people are comfortable with that, as we talked about earlier. How does the NIV translate Ecclesiastes 2:24?
Yeah, so I'll read it out. It says, a person can do nothing better than to eat and drink and find satisfaction in their own toil. This too I see is from the hand of God.
Hmm. Very good. Now, the other translations you mentioned, the ESV, the New American Standard Version as well, they translate it similarly.
Yes, so they all take the preposition that they're working on, the part in the English that they're trying to translate is the
Hmm.
kind of better than statement. So the
Hmm.
comparative statement in there is they handle that all the same.
Okay. So there's nothing better for a person to do these other things that you just mentioned. All right. So in your research, why do you feel like that's kind of off? That's not really right.
Yeah, so I was looking at it, and to be fair, first time I translated the book way back when, I did the same thing they did. I wasn't looking very closely, honestly. I wasn't being a very good scholar, but I came back and looked at it. I saw this preposition, and basically to translate it better than, you need a very specific preposition or a very specific Hebrew word to signal that sort of relationship. However, when you look at the Hebrew, that word isn't there. It's a different word. And that different word is actually really, there's no part of a comparison idea within that word's possible range of meaning. So all the things that it could possibly mean, it can't really be a comparison.
So is there any place that it's a comparison that you found?
I haven't found it yet, and
Okay.
I've looked at
Still
it.
looking.
Yeah, still looking.
So we're talking about the word and the preposition, but Adam, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So typically, I mean, that would mean like in a man or in a person, something like that, because
Correct.
ba is typically translated in, or sometimes maybe with, or there's a number of ways, but not really a comparative way.
Right. So it's bait. The preposition bait is usually the idea of kind of a location. So either with somebody physically or inside of something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not really a comparison idea in there.
Okay. So one day they're going to publish the Lucy Sanders version, the LSV, I guess, of the Bible. And what are you going to say for Ecclesiastes 2:24?
Yeah, so I think a fair translation to treat that bait with respect would be, there is no good thing within the person who, and then finishes it out. So really taking it as an idea of there's nothing good inside of somebody who does these things, rather than a comparison.
So that almost turns it completely on its head, doesn't it?
Yeah, so it's a very different treatment of it, and I have a feeling that's probably why these translators are going, well, that would be, really different, and they're taking a different version and translating that instead.
A lot of times when we learn languages, we think prepositions are like throwaway words. We got to learn the nouns, and we got to learn the verbs, and we got to learn some things like that. But prepositions, they're usually short. They're usually, we consider them sort of unimportant. But in fact, they really do govern a great deal.
They really do. Those small connecting words, prepositions and conjunctions, really, I think that's kind of where us exegetes, we get so excited, because that's where we debate.
Yeah.
We debate those things all the time. So
sometimes a particle here or a particle there or a preposition there. It makes all the difference. Well, this is kind of an interesting reading. I'm going to have to go back and take a look at that.
Yeah, basically what it does is it takes it from kind of an ethical idea, like it's better for a person to do this, focusing on a person's actions and choices, and it flips it to be more of a theological statement that has to do more with kind of sovereignty of God and what a person can do to earn anything. So it really takes a very different stance than what's kind of been translated.
All right, so predictions now. You're a prophet. We're going to say you're a prophet. What are your predictions for being done with your dissertation?
That's a good question. I'm doing it part-time right now, so it's a little slow going. So hopefully maybe 3 years.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see if I can make that.
Well, you've got a very important position teaching lots of great students back at your own alma mater, and we're just so grateful that you've spent some time with us today, Lucy, on Exegetically Speaking.
Thank you so much. It's been great to be here.
If you learned too much today and your head is hurting, there's one sure cure. That is to share this podcast with a friend. We hope you've enjoyed Exegetically Speaking. If you have never visited Wheaton College, I hope you'll make plans to do so. We have a wonderful campus year around. And if biblical languages are your fancy, check out our MA and BA programs at Wheaton College, wheaton.edu. Look for modern and classical languages. That's the best place to get started. If you have comments, you have questions, you just want to be in touch, please email us at exegetically.speaking@wheaton.edu. Thanks for all those who make this possible. You know who you are. Until next time, thanks for listening.